Hello, everyone. Boy, where the heck have I been? Welcome to Onesciousness Prime. As for saying the show, I'm Adam Abraham, and I'm going to look over this way from time to time so I can change my controls and other things. But here I am once again. It's been a while, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what I have been doing and some of the insights I've gained that I'd like to share. And in fact, some thoughts that I think are will be valuable, will be worth your time, and we're just going to have to see how we can grow with this. Um, I keep have there's an impulse within me to do what I'm doing in spite of the fact that I'm not necessarily inclined to. I can't say this a natural inclination, but I guess I have another inclination that's probably bigger than my disinclination. Okay, to get in front of my camera and talk. But there are just some insights. What's been happening is this staying off of or not posting that much, not having much to say doesn't mean I don't feel that much. Okay, I feel a lot, and I think the other part of it is just what is it that I have to share that will actually matter. I got a lot that I think will matter, probably even a lot more than I hope will. But ultimately, what will actually inspire people to change? That's not change. Take a look at themselves. Take a new look. Take a fresh look at life, the life that they're living, the life that they are thinking, because we're thinking our lives into existence, oftentimes not knowing that we're doing it, and in not knowing that we're doing it or not being inclined to acknowledge that it's we who are doing it, we're then also disinclined to take some actions to change it, mostly because we probably don't know that we can. And if we even are told, sometimes it's hard to believe, et cetera, et cetera. You see how things tend to conspire to keep us thinking the way we think, which actually has us speaking the way we are used to speaking about ourselves and about everyone else, and essentially repeating our experiences, however empty they may be. But I know that they don't have to be, and now I feel that I can articulate why they're the way they are, and also why and how we can change them, because each one can change their experience for the better, and only you can change your experience for the better, as such that it is that I can only change mine for the better. And for that matter, I can change it for the worse too. Goes both ways. It doesn't really matter as far as the universe is concerned. Let me see here, not viable when streaming to a Facebook profile unless something, well, I haven't done that. It is what it is. I'm not going to change it now. At this point in time, I'm just building on the habit of posting on a regular basis. I am also going to build on the habit of posting to TikTok, which I have not done. But I think what I have to, and I've got followers already, I'm happy to say, but I have not done it. And so this is going out to my YouTube channel and Facebook at present. I have a channel on Rumble, which I will be putting some content on as well. So, what is the point of this one today? What am I talking about? Changing the. Give me to the here we go. I will stop sharing my screen for the moment. Um, and let's see here. I'm going to move to a different screen. This is where you hear me talk and figure out what the heck am I doing here. Okay, I'll do it this way. Oh, I know. Uh, Hit that. That works it. There we go. Now, if I change the screens and bring this up, um, oh, I have to share my screen again, which I stopped doing. Thinking right on the cuff, right in the moment. So, what we're going to basically see here, I talked about the thing and including this. And so, let me see if I can, how do I restart this? Um, I played this in one of the groups that I was in, and it went over very well. But here, let me see. Um, all right, this is not working here. Not that it's not working, I'm not working in the sense of seeing how to restart this. And refreshing this is not going to do it. So, this is what I'm going to do while I figure that out. We go to the next thing. So, I had some great insights during Peace Week. The people who were praying, chanting, drumming, and people with great ideas, with super hearts, and wanting to see peace happen, peace come about in by 2030. Now you got a whole bunch of other people who want something else to show up by 2030, and from their standpoint, it's not necessarily peaceful, but it's just basically what they want. And the whole idea here is that there's so many things that can be, should be done. We are equally, I'll put it this way: 2030 is equally distant for the people that want peace then or by then, and the same people that want something else, which they may call peace. I don't know what they call it, but they want order that they have basically conceived and they are essentially attempting to orchestrate. But it's by 2030. Okay, that's the goal. Well, from where I sit, it basically says that neither of them are achieving their goals because they are equal distance from it in terms of space and time. But more importantly, they're not in equal consciousness from it. In fact, they are in the same consciousness. They're looking to do the same thing and in agreement that they're not there now. So they're building all of this. And what is the building? The building depends on you and me to the extent that we're here. I don't know. I don't know if I'm here 2030 or not. Maybe I am. However, if I am, it's going to be I am of a different consciousness because I'm at peace now. And the other part of this that will change all of this, we have habits of activity. We have habits of interaction that we have done for hundreds of years, which have literally contributed to the state of consciousness, which is considered normal today. And so, in order to change either of those things, because by 2030, both the ones who want peace, the folks who want order, by the time 2030 comes, and if they're in the same frame of mind, then it's probably going to be 2040, 2045, maybe 2050. They will. Well, if not now, then. But ultimately, our change, our state of consciousness, is what determines the degree of peace we experience right now. And in addition to that, it actually determines it influences and determines the quality of experience that we are having right now. Certainly, because on the map of consciousness, as you'll see when we cover the inner ring, peace is on that ring, love is on that ring, but peace is beyond love. Love is the homing signal that we go through, so to speak, to enable and activate that state and that existence of peace within us. And it's available to each one right now. Now, one thing that very few people talked about, and I brought to, you could say, the table of discussion, was abundance. And a lot of people who are looking to have that peace by 2030 are not experiencing abundance. And quite frankly, not much of what anyone was talking about involved that. Now, on the other hand, the people who are trying to do this other thing by 2030, where you'll have nothing and be happy about it, uh, they would appear to have abundance too, but yet they still are in want of something else. All of the abundance that they appear to have is not satisfying them enough to frankly respect the power of each of us to determine and create our own life and our own life experience. These people are planning something called a UBI, was referred to as Universal Basic Income, where they are going to determine what we are. Uh, 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 it's not. I don't know if the point is what we're worthy of, but what they would allot to us. Okay, they want to play something called God, but they are in a distorted frame of mind, and therefore they're not real. When we are not seeing things as they are, and that includes seeing ourselves as we are, as equals to everyone, to everything, as interconnected. See, because again, you can connect, and your effectiveness to the whole is determined by your own state of consciousness. It moves in various directions. If we are living in fear and shame, then the people who are up in pride and other things, even though it's a forceful thing, can definitely affect our or influence our behavior. But we always have the option and the choice and the power to shift where we are in consciousness and choose to be ourselves, meaning to live our own life, to own our own decisions and our thoughts, and to own our own words. And so here, the map of consciousness is a matrix of words with ideas and with different um, values associated with them. And when you see the inner ring, well, you saw what's associated with the outer ring, along with that great darkness, that great loneliness in the middle. And yet there's still a connectivity to the I am. And so I hear people say things, they say, I am this, I am that. And I just, all you can do is just take a deep breath when do you hear what you're saying about yourself? And I totally understand they don't realize their power to create their experience through the lens of their perceptions that they've adopted and not questioned. They've accepted and not challenged. If they haven't realized the lack of wisdom of some of the things that is being touted in our society today, uh, what are you going to do? You're going to live by them. They're going to be your gods until you decide to change the meaning, to delete them for all practical purposes, or create new words, new ideas, and new concepts that mean something that's closer to your heart, or not even closer, is your heart. So, what we're going to do, what I intend to do basically is um, we're going to talk about prosperity, and we're going to talk about the mechanism by which we can each create a flow of income that did not exist. Well, in one case, just a few weeks ago, in another case, about a year ago, and then outside of that, it didn't exist. The components have been coming. They started with the crypto uh, ex- unto itself. They began there, but it didn't begin. It began with Bitcoin. It began with its introduction in the 2000s, 2009, such I think. And but it didn't end there either. It has continued to evolve, And so, what we're going to talk about, and on an ongoing basis, is a system that is based on what I would call the golden rule. Um, well, when you look at it and you assess it, this is how it works. We talk about the golden rule. What is the golden rule? One part of the golden rule you've probably heard of: do unto others as you have them do unto you. Another part of the golden rule that's just as equal to me, but until it started coming out my little mouth, I hadn't seen anyone say it. And that is, and this will be up on, so there'll be graphics and stuff like that as time. But I'm saying it. I'm just kind of talking at the moment, and we're gonna sign off here shortly. However, the other way of looking at it is the other side. We keep getting half of the story. We are a society that has been running on distortions and half truths and untruths. Okay, so all of those are distortions, and which means if they are a distortion, they're not real. But if we are running on those ideas, if those ideas are basically informing our thoughts, or those thoughts are informing our words, and in such doing influencing our actions, then we are not ourselves. We certainly aren't our highest self. We're not our authentic self, and there are consequences to that. And so, and not in a punitive sense, simply in the fact that if it's distortion's not real, we're not getting the best results out of our experience because we're not putting the best in. You need to put the best in to get the best out. The beauty of that idea is that when you choose to put the best in, when you choose to acknowledge that there's better that you can do and there's better than you can be, that's when your consciousness starts to go up, because you are now vibrating on a different level. And then you start moving from that sense of isolation and darkness into, I'll say, the light of oneishness. And you are closer and closer to the oneness that you actually are with source, with all. And you then become and get to that place where you can tell a mountain to move, and the mountain will ask you how far, something like that. You know what I'm saying? So there is a platform called coop20.com, and it is a mechanism that I will talk about too, wherein it is designed on the basis, the principles of cooperation, and essentially the golden rule: do unto others as you'd have them do to you, and treat yourself the way you'd have others to treat you. When you're treating yourself the way you'd have others to treat you, you set a basis for what you accept and what you don't accept, what you expect, because you need to be your own best friend. And by the time we have gone through an quote unquote education system, we've generally been convinced of a lot of things about our society, about ourselves, etc., that put us out alone in the in the pasture, not without a without a, like a boat without a without an oar or without a rudder. We need to be our own rudders, and we need to know how to guide our ship, irrespective of the direction of um, the currents, so to speak. This system called Co-op 20, I'm going to talk about in more depth. However, the QR code that's right there on the screen, if you scan it in, with your phone or however you scan it, it will open up a window and take you right to the site. But the explanation of how this works and why it is important, I love what the developer has done, but the developer explains it in a context that is as though it's about making money and that money is the solution to people's problems. Now, the fact of the matter is, most people think that's true, but it is not. Our problems are problems of spirit, they are problems of consciousness, and they are problems of based on habits that we've taken on without thinking about it, Oftentimes, they have been passed on from generation to generation. And unless someone is actually stopping and taking, you might say, a pen and scratching out, or in some kind of way nullifying what effect certain ideas have on our minds, then they will keep just doing the same thing over and over and over again until we do finally decide, oh, maybe it is about me. Okay. And I'll say this in terms about it being about you. There are 8 billion souls, if you will, that are presently using or connected with bodies on this planet right now. A year from today, there in the US alone, there'll be 4 million ones who are not here today. They don't have a form now. There'll be about 3 million who are here today with a form, but they won't be with form now. You remember in the beginning, we talked about you're not your body. We're not our bodies. We are something else. Yet we think and act as though we are the body. And then we put ourselves at the mercy of whatever someone tells us that acknowledges or presumes that our body is who we are. We're not. We're something way beyond that. And yet, if we stay in the consciousness, if we take if when we finally leave this plane with the idea that our body is who we are, outside of whatever issues that we associate with the exiting process referred to as death, there's also the anxieties that we tend to hold and we keep alive. But we take those with us. They stay with us until such time as we start to realize we are interconnected to something much, much larger, and we are an equal factor in each. They talk about thou shalt have no gods before me or something like that. Well, it's not me, but we are connected to the one. There is no other quote unquote God. Certainly, there's no one else with a form who is greater than you, me for me. Our point is to be our best me, you, your best you that we can imagine. And see, the other evidence that this is valid, at least to me, is that when you look at the 8 billion people, when you look at the 8 billion beings that have forms now that are called physical on this planet, no two experiences are the same. We all suck air, okay? We all do all those things. There's a common thing there. But the experiences that each one and the perspective that each one creates is unique in all of creation. I would even dare say that over the course of the lifetime, no matter how long or how short it is, while you have this form, no two moments are the same. In the same way that you could talk about fingerprints, your snowflakes, no two snowflakes are the same. No two fingerprints are the same. Even with twins, their life experiences that they create, whether they're identical and everything else, they're always going to be just a little bit of variance and a 100% uniqueness. So when you start to realize that, when you start to embrace that as a fact, it is a fact. It's a biological as well as an existential fact of life. So you can permit yourself to step out of your present and habitual ways of thinking if there's something better that you hear or that you feel that resonates with you that will take you to a better way of living, because that's something you can do here and now. You don't have to wait till any other time. In fact, until you make that decision and permit yourself, it's going to have the same life is going to seem the same. It's going to have the same quality of of you know existence. But generally speaking, we are living a low quality of our potential because most people are acting as though they are acting like they think someone thinks they ought to act. You hear people talking about, why are you acting this or you're acting this way? Well, excuse me. That's the problem. But it's also the habit. We've taught that to each other and we've habituated it. And we've not habituated it for our benefit. That's really the issue. Habits are not bad. It's simply the unwise ones. Okay. They produce, because the system is a reciprocal system, what you put out will come back to you. Then it's time to be mindful of what you're putting out. And so when we talk about this cooperative system, we are going to be very mindful of what we put out, knowing that it will not only come back with us, to us, it'll come back in kind, and it'll come back with constancy. We are going to create a new way to bring value into our lives that we can literally control ourselves, we can use as we want, and we will create it in such a way that it continues coming, it continues coming in light of and in concert with what we put out in the beginning. We put something out, we plant some seeds, we actually invite three people to do the same thing that we just did. When they see or hear or feel what we're talking about and they say yes, we give them an invitation that they will now connect with us, with you, and then they will get these pieces of information, tokens, to invite three people to do the same thing. Every time that happens, every time it's replicated, you will eventually have up to over almost 1,100 people connected to your central point in this system. You're giving out to six, and you're creating a way that 1,100 people, 1,092, will give to you. And then there are more beyond this that you can do that work under the same principles. And you will be able to join those without having to put another penny out, so to speak, in value. So, in this way, we begin to receive, I'll call them blessings, of such magnitude that we won't have room. You talk about our cup runneth over, it'd be a big deal. So, I'm going to sign off. I thank you for, oh, hey, Michael, thank you so much. Uh, well, I love the fact that first of all, I did it, and I have to simply get into the habit of doing it. The beauty of doing this live stream is that people more will come and they will watch it. And when I keep doing this on a more regular basis, then people will live. They'll come while I'm here and they'll interact. But I thank you so much. It's really great meeting you. But we're going to interact some more too, because this is a part of the puzzle, and it's an important one. So thank you so much. I will I will check out for now. I think there's some, and tomorrow I'm going down to Vancouver, Washington. I will say, because I say Vancouver, it could be one way or the other, but I'm getting these eyes examined and some new prescriptions and stuff like this. Been too long, so I likely won't be doing this tomorrow. But hey, Damien, good to see you again too. And we got we got to talk. I don't know when you got in. Listen to what I said, and I want to. We need to talk about this cooperative system. It's called Co-op 20. Check on that QR code. But this is this is how people will break away from something that they have not had a way to break away from. And that's not the need for money, but it's actually the experience of need itself, because it's not about money, it's about something greater than money. And need is what binds us to the stuff that actually, where people pull us by the nose and everything else. It's by a need that we tend to have. And we also need self confidence. So I've stayed with this idea of the co-op system, even when it was beyond most people's beliefs. But the damn thing, the system works. The principles actually work. So it's been like, okay, but now that they brought this co-op 21 out, anyone can do this. Anyone can afford to do it, and I consider it a social experiment, because this is something that not only anyone can do, everyone can do. Now it's about consciousness again. It's no longer the excuse of I don't have enough to do it or not. If someone is really resolute on doing this, they will either find the few bucks needed to get started with it, or they will attract it. If they're of the right consciousness, they will attract what they need. Need won't be the issue because the consciousness will be right. The universe is wishing this abundance on everyone, but it can't do it for anyone because we are parts of it. We can't overwrite our own consciousness, but we can change it. At any rate, that's what I have for right now. I will be talking to you all again, and I thank you for being here. Until next time, peace. I'll say be well. I say be prosperous. And I love you all. You guys take care.